everybody. Welcome to Bubble Talk with Burge. And I am so pleased to be here. I'm sorry I wasn't here for you on Friday. And I'm here. A lot of crazy things have happened. So I just want to say thank you for being here with me now. Hi, Lucia. Miss you. We're in the module of relationships right now with our Conscious Leadership Academy. And it's been a really wild ride so far with relationships. I don't know about you, but have you ever felt frustrated or empty or sad or just feeling like, maybe nobody wants you? Or I've just been feeling, it's been interesting creating this whole Essence of Relationships online with the Conscious Leadership Academy with our Essence of Relationships we're doing in April for our one day. It's just been a real interesting ride for me because I have felt frustrated. I have felt tired. I have felt alone. I have felt empty. And like I said, because I think in relationships, like my little doggy Merlin, who I had to put down, there's that void, there's the emptiness that you feel. And then my son, who basically is off on his own, and I don't get to see him anymore, and he's having his own life, and he's happy, and yet I feel empty with him as well. I don't feel connected. And then my husband, Brad, who travels a lot, and I travel a lot, so we don't see each other very much, and every now and then we get a phone call in, and so it's that connection there is kind of not, I feel empty, sometimes. So, and everything that I teach and everything that I know in my bones is that, not to look outside of ourselves for validation, or not to get comfort from other people, not to look for how lovable we are, or how wanted we are, or how whole and complete we are by using outside influence, right? And a lot of us do that. So I'm kind of sitting in that right now and just thinking about it and feeling through how empty I feel. And I think it's a disconnect from connection of my really close loved ones. And a lot of them have left the planet too, and a lot of them are about to leave the planet. So it's real interesting how we do have these attachments to love, right? We have these attachments to people and opportunities and things. And what do you do? What do you do with that when you feel alone, or when you feel like, you don't want to be sociable, or you don't want to, I know I'm supposed to inspire you, right? That's what I do with these things, right? Bubble Talk with Burge is inspirational, and certainly Essence of Being and all of the workshops and play shops that we do. I love to inspire, but I choose to be inspired as well. And so for me, I have those feelings at times, and it's just things are culminating all together. Feeling dizzy, all of that dizziness of what's going on in the world right now, and wanting that yearning for the connection. So all this online thing that I do is great. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And the other thing that happened was Facebook shut me down. They shut me down for the Power Hour and Bubble Talk that I had, mainly for the Power Hour, I think, from last week, which was men are dogs and the woman is always right. And of course it was a metaphor. Of course it did not mean that. And that's just how I was sharing it. And then on the Power Hour, it was this transcendent thing that people came back to me, oh my God, that's the most, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I've been writing this book since 2007, right? And I felt like I missed my opportunity. I missed my window because so many people are so sensitive right now that Facebook thought it was hate speech. Just because I was saying men are dogs and the woman is always right, which is, again, irony and a metaphor to prove a point, okay? And it was totally about empowerment for men and women and communication and how to trust your intuition, which is your female side, okay? And everybody has a female side. It's not about women being always right, really. And it's not, I don't think men are dogs either. it's just interesting how it kind of unfolded from a lot of people, and I got a lot of reaction and controversy and all these, they shut me down. I've never been shut down before. So I thought maybe it's too late. Maybe we're in that age now of everybody's so sensitive. What I had to say and what it's all about makes a lot of sense, and everybody resonated with that. It's just the name of the book and the name of the title and what that means to people nowadays. So it's interesting how I'm having to look at. I thought it was a brilliant way to get people's attention back in 2007, and I thought it still was. And it makes sense because of the allegory, because of the actual metaphor that I use around communication and about connection that animals have, and how if we could just take our cues by, some of the animals in the world, then things might work out better for us, right? In relationships especially. So anyway, I kind of like that kind of sucker punch. It just punched me. I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm the coolest person in the world. I'm about peace and love and win-win, and all of us empowering each other. That's the whole point. Is being able to be innocent and love ourselves and love each other, and not go to the fear side. But somehow I invoked fear. And remember, there's only two thought systems in the world: fear and love. And it's interesting how I said to myself, do I really want to play bold? Do I really want to play big? And I don't know if you've ever asked yourself that. I'm sure you have. All of you conscious leaders out there. Is like, playing big, what does that mean? If I show up in a totally different way and people know about me, or I do something that's very impactful, whether it's impacting a family or a business or your community or the world, if I show up that way, there's always the haters out there, right? It's so interesting growing up. I'm one of those people that grew up, I'm older, so, I grew up in the 60s. So it was different back then. We didn't have social media. We didn't have all of that stuff. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Miss Italy. So we didn't have all of those things then. So it's interesting how it's showing up in a different culture these days. And then I have a lot of the millennials, talking to me about how it is for them now, and these new leaders of the world, and what their fears are. And I saw a documentary about stress, and how the United States, our life expectancy has decreased, and we're almost at the bottom when before we were at the top of civilized, whatever, nations that are Western nations, people that are civilized nations. Those first, what do you call them? First, anyway. So I thought, how interesting that we are stressed out, that we are killing ourselves, that suicide and drug overdose and alcoholism and depression has been this thing in the U.S. now, that so much so that the statistics are astounding. They're astounding as to what is creating that, what the causes are, and one of them was social connection. And they did all these studies around animals too about social connection and having support and having social support, and how people feel alone, even more so now than ever. And I think it has to do with a combination of things. Certainly one of these screens, in front of our face all the time, but feeling alone in a lot of ways where we're not feeling supported and not having that social acceptance of who we are, and being able to be accepted by everybody. Having that commonality of human spirit, that we're all the same, really, when you boil it down. All this stuff on the outside is just stuff. When you boil it down, we are sentient beings here, very spiritual beings, and we've come to choose this lifetime and this moment and this body for us to come together and do something and to experience. And so I thought that very interesting, that stress has definitely been just going up and up and up and up and up, especially in the United States. And it was a really interesting documentary. It made me think, because this is what I do. This is what I'm all about, and what Essence of Being and all of what we do is about, is being able to have community, being able to have a global movement of conscious leaders empowering others to create a win-win world, so we don't feel alone, so we don't feel unwanted, so we have that connection, that we have that heart-to-heart connection, that, you know what, even if we have bad days and even if things aren't working out the way we want it to, there's a way to do this, there's a way to be this, there's a way to feel this. And so being able to allow ourselves to go there with each other is what this is all about. And this is why I keep doing what I've been doing for 37 years. You know, it hasn't been easy at times. It hasn't been easy to show up sometimes. And, you know, I'm human too. And so, hi Paulette, I love you too. So, I mean, it's very valuable what we bring to each other in these connections that we have with these play shops, and in these you know, this year-long, the memberships that we have, and the community and the global connection that we have. We yearn for it, and it keeps us healthier, and it keeps us alive longer, so we don't commit suicide or medicate. So the medication and the suicide and all the things that are happening now, especially in the U.S. with stress, that is teenagers, you know, teenagers, that's why I work with teenagers and kids too. I mean, it's getting younger and younger and younger about how to, you know, they don't understand that we didn't have social media back then. We didn't have all the bullying that we had. Sure, there was, you know, things happening like nuclear war and stuff like that. And before that, there's always going to be fears in the world, but how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the fear? Do you move on and really raise your vibration up so that you can attract other people of like-minded vibrations, which is that we all are love, that we have the ability to make a difference in the world, that we do have an impact, that we are important, and you are. So, you know, I'm not alone in all of this, and sometimes it's just been swirling around in my world lately about feeling alone and feeling like there's a void. And of course I teach, don't look outside yourself for that connection and filling yourself up. So I'm going to pull a card for me. Normally I pull a card for all of us, but this is for all of us too. This is something that you can focus on for the rest of the week. These are my Essence of Being cards, okay? And they're oracle cards or vision cards. They're inspirational cards for you to focus on something that might be serving you better than, you know, watching the news or whatever else is going on. Let's see what I pulled. Okay. If I can't, I must. Let me just read it, all right? If I can't, I must. If you find yourself saying, I can't, then reframe it and say, I must. And play 100%, full on, no backing out. It's only by facing our fears that we break through them. If something isn't working in your life, then you must find a way to break through. By reframing your thoughts and words, you push through your fears. So for me, what this means is, yeah, I had a big dose of fear that I'm going to get in trouble, that if I play big or bold or go to the next level, whatever that is for you or me, that I'm going to get in trouble, right? Or that people won't like me. Okay, that's that codependent part that comes up about people won't want to be with me if they think I'm controversial. And yet my message is so not controversial. I can't imagine anybody disagreeing with the message of love, okay? And the message of why can't we all just get along? But also having the essence of our being be exposed and be vulnerable enough to allow ourselves to be intimate with each other and to really allow ourselves to understand how innocent we are and be that innocence and be that wanted and that worthy and that deserving and that allowing and that perfect just the way we are, and yet continuing to improve, to have empathy, to have respect, okay, to have ownership and responsibility, to have compassion in our lives. So for me, that's what keeps me going. If I can't, I must. So that's good for me, just to keep saying, you know what, when the going gets tough, right, if I can't, I must. Instead of saying the tough get going, just say if I can't, I must. Because what happens is it pushes you forward into the next stage, even though you're afraid, even though you don't want to, even though you're not sure, even though it's an unknown, you do it anyway, okay? Because for me, I have to find my why again. My why, my meaning of why I was doing all of these things for so long and really putting myself out there is because of my son. And now I don't have the same why, okay? I definitely have the why about all of our children, leave this planet a better place than we found it and to have it keep going. That's a big why for me. And my why also is if I feel like if I support enough people and guide enough people and allow enough people in their beauty and in their innocence and in their worthiness, that they too will spread that. And they'll demonstrate that. And then they'll demonstrate that. And then those other people will demonstrate it. And so it kind of flows out, right? So that we actually can make a difference. And that we really are important in the world. So that's my why, to continue going. And so I invite all of you to come play with me at Essence of Relationships, which we're having in April. And that's a one-day. And then our Essence of Being classes, of course, is our big 3-day experience. And then we have a lot of graduate workshops after that. But the thing that I'm really excited about, really, is the community that we're building with this membership, with the Conscious Leadership Academy, because it has been pretty intense and just empowering for so many people to really understand some of the nuances and the subconscious beliefs behind money and relationships and communication and being a leader, and what does that mean. So this is coming up for a lot of people, and we're going to have a huge gala at the end of the year, a big party. So we're going to celebrate everybody that's going through the academy, but just say to yourself, if you find yourself saying I can't, just change it to I must, and watch how that motivates you to just move forward, okay? Any hesitation is a chance to be ineffective. It's a chance to draw back. So it's not 100%. So if things are not working out in your life, then it could be because of your commitment level. So commit to saying, if I can't, I must. And you've been purged.